Here we go again. I'm frightened. Hello, I'm Alpha66. In August, I made my Premier League predictions, and this has gone absolutely horrific. But just stay on the video because I know that you're going to want to see me get embarrassed. But let's just be cliche and react to it. And as always, I'm giving myself a point score based on how many places I was wrong by with each team and adding them all up to get a total score. Last year, my score was 70 points and my maximum is 80 points. If we can get it under 70 as well, then that'll be perfect. But 80 is the maximum. Right, let's go.
20th Sunderland. They'll start well, outside the bottom three, but by Christmas they'll be in the drop zone and they won't leave from there. I don't think we're looking at Derby County 2.0. I think they'll be what Southampton were 3 seasons back. Starting off okay, but eventually will just be glued to the foot of the table.
Yeah, this one didn't come true. I felt like doing what everyone thought was bollocks and tipping Sunderland to stay up, but I just did not know. Signing 10 plus players as a newly promoted side should not work. It didn't work for Ipswich in 2024, it didn't work for Burnley in 2023, and nearly didn't work for Forest in 2022. And Forest signed 23 footballers that window. That's more than you need for a bastard matchday squad. Likewise, Sunderland signed a ginormous list of footballers, but somehow it worked. They're all the way up in 7th and have 54 points. And that's a pretty bad start for me, 13 points. However, loads of people will have started the exact same way, so I'm not really that embarrassed.
19th Burnley. Honestly, anyone with a Burnley season ticket, you should stick it in a bonfire.
Yes! 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 I got one right! I got one right!
This will be a horrid season for Burnley. And to prove it, if Burnley do stay up, I'll pour 5 buckets of ice cream on my head, each one a different flavour.
Oh, you never know. That could have actually been an enjoyable forfeit. But no, that doesn't mean I'm doing it. Off. Thank you, Burnley, for embarrassing yourself in the top flight again. If you didn't think Burnley were going down, what were you doing? If Vincent Kompany, a man who's in charge of one of the best teams in Europe right now, a team with at least 3 Ballon d'Or candidates, if he couldn't keep Burnley up, what hope did a broken oven like Scott Parker have? Are this club ever going to have more than 1 year in the Prem again? They're never ever going to find a better manager than Kompany, surely not. And now they've got this identity of being a yo-yo club from Lancashire. That's the consequence of sacking Sean Dyche. Yes, Dyche's football brings about the same entertainment as watching a homeless man getting jiggy with a hamster, but he knew how to keep Burnley up. How he got this northern club to last what would have been 6 years in the Prem, it's pretty crazy. But no, that relegation in 2022 has just turned you into a northern Norwich. Scott Parker failed as well. This has been a hideous season for Burnley. But who cares? 19th, bang on the money, get in there!
18th Leeds. Yep. That's all 3 promoted teams going back down. Leeds are finishing 18th, and they'll put up a good fight under a new manager. Daniel Farke will be the first manager to get the sack, and in his place will be Ange Postecoglou. They're still heading down.
Even I knew this wasn't going to happen, but it just felt safe. In 2023, Luton, Burnley and Sheffield United were promoted from the Championship. In 2024, Luton, Burnley and Sheffield United were relegated from the Prem. In 2024, Ipswich, Leicester and Southampton were promoted from the Championship. In 2025, Ipswich, Leicester and Southampton were relegated from the Prem. So at that point, it just felt safe to tip all 3 promoted teams to go straight back down. But no, Leeds have had their best Premier League season in years, while fans have been allowed in the ground. And Daniel Farke, what a job he's done. This guy was linked with the sack before the season even started, purely because of his combined 18 months at Norwich, where he single-handedly got them relegated in 2020 and set them up for relegation in 2022. People were saying he was going to be the first manager to get sacked. Instead, he lasted the whole campaign, and in my opinion, he's been one of the managers of the season. Leeds finished 14th instead, so that's 17 points.
17th Wolves. This is going to be a mess. Matthias Cunha and Ryan Aït-Nouri are going to be massive misses, and Vitor Pereira's hype from last season will be ripped to shreds. He won't keep his job until May, and if Wolves do finish in the top half of the league, when it next snows in the UK, I'll dunk 5 buckets of ice water on me.
Nope. Bottom of the league and relegated without a fuss. They finished all but 1 game week bottom of the table. I don't think any team's ever done that. They didn't win a single game until the turn of the year, and for half a season were on track to become the worst team in Premier League history. 3 points by New Year's Eve. That is beyond abysmal. That's like Ofsted having to rate a school whose head teacher is a convicted pedo, ironing birds is a PE exercise, and when a child misbehaves, they get chucked in an oven and baked. Or was that just my school? Anyway, Wolves have just disgraced themselves all year. And forget about the narratives that Wolves should have finished above Burnley. You cannot just ignore Vitor Pereira's spell at the the start of the season, just because Rob Edwards actually made this team look half decent. Wolves have been awful all season and absolutely deserve to finish bottom. 3 places wrong, 20 points.
16th West Ham. West Ham are going to be very close to relegation this season. Graham Potter will be sacked by March, and in his place, I can see a championship coach like Liam Manning or even Frank Lampard taking over from him, and they'll be very close to the drop, but survive it by 6 points.
Damn it, I was so very close. Just 2 places wrong. But no, it didn't really feel like West Ham were going to stay up at any point this season. I don't know about you, but as much as I felt that they were going to stay up because they were too good to go down, it just didn't happen. They left the relegation zone at some point, sure, but they were just immediately chucked back in. I said Graham Potter would be sacked by March. He was gone by October. And in came Nuno Espirito Santo, but no, 18th, 22 points. I was so close.
15th Brentford. I'm one of the only people who hasn't written off Andrews as a complete waste. I think he'll be what Gary O'Neill was to Bournemouth in 2022-23. They seemingly had no chance of survival when he came in, but he eventually did survive. And I think it'll be the same for Andrews, squeaking away from the drop zone by 6 points. But still, there is no way they make the top half. If they do, then I'll go down to the G-Tech and lick one of the turnstiles.
Oh no, Brentford have only gone and finished top half. Alright, I didn't have time to go all the way down to Brentford before I recorded this video, so I will do this over the summer, alright? But it felt like nobody thought Brentford would stay up. Replacing their legendary manager Thomas Frank with Keith Andrews, it felt like moving from a multi-million-pound mansion to a grimy caravan, when instead it's been the exact opposite. Brentford have been exceptional this season. Keith Andrews nearly qualified for Europe, while Thomas Frank nearly took Spurs down. Brentford have beaten Man United and Liverpool, and Keith Andrews, if he keeps his good work up, he could turn out a bigger Brentford legend than Thomas Frank, and he wasn't deemed good enough for a job at MK Dons. MK Dons? The team that are just a dodgy rebrand of Wimbledon. I was wildly off by 6 places, 28 points, and yep, in the summer I'll be travelling to the G-Tech and having a lick of the turnstile.
14th Crystal Palace. This season I reckon the European adrenaline will get to them and they'll drop down. Their squad is good enough for the Conference League, but we've seen clubs like West Ham, Brighton and Villa qualify for Europe and then the season after drop back because of the European football adrenaline.
Oh come on! I said Crystal Palace would finish 14th. No, it's 15th. I knew they'd be weighed down by the added European fixtures. I just knew it. They went all the way in the Conference League, but that took a big toll on their league form. Just 4 wins between December and March. That is gruesome. And now 15th. 1 measly place wrong. I hate Crystal Palace.
13th Fulham. Fulham is the team I'm never ever sure about, but one thing's for sure, they'll finish mid-table.
Okay, this one is pretty close. Alright, it's not exactly a genius prediction. Your epileptic grandma could have said that Fulham would finish mid-table, but they finished 11th, not 13th. They finished the second last game week in 13th as well. Come on, lads.
12th Everton. Everton are not going down, and they won't even be close. They'll get safe mid-table and get 50 points in the process. Solid.
Everton! 13th. Are you kidding me? This was a fan base who willingly moved into a sparkling new stadium. Think of West Ham. Their fans absolutely didn't want to leave Upton Park, and still to this day they hate the London Stadium. Everton, however, have done better in their new home, but at the same time, you probably feel a bit dumbfounded if a team that didn't win any of their final 7 games made Europe. Yeah, Everton could have been in Europe this season. Just a nasty run at the end of the season that killed their form. Wonderful new signing Jack Grealish got injured in January, but still 32 points, and they finished game week 37 in 12th. I hate this.
11th Brighton. This will be a drop-off, and they will be unlucky to miss out on top half. They'll finish 1 point behind the team in 10th, but overall they'll have a good season.
God damn it! What a season for Brighton. How can a team win 1 game between December and mid-February and recover in time to get into Europe? Mental stuff. Fabian Hürzeler. While I'll always laugh at how he moaned about Arsenal set pieces, only to lose to Arsenal the following day, he's done a smashing job at Brighton. And if they do well in the transfer market and go far in Europe, he could leave behind a bigger legacy than the likes of Graham Potter and Roberto De Zerbi. And everyone talks about them as great Brighton managers. 3 places wrong for me, 35 points.
10th Man United. 10th is generous for Man United right now. I reckon they'll improve, but they'll never be threatening at all. Not in the top 4 for 1 week of the season. They'll still be an absolute joke. If they do get Champions League football, I'll get a Man United fan to throw 50 oranges at my head.
Oh no, no, no! Okay, before I do this, I couldn't find any Man United fan that wanted to throw 50 oranges at me. Believe me, I tried. So I moved to the backup option. The ice bath. To make it all the more painful. Oh God. I'll try again over the summer, try and get a Man United fan to chuck 50 oranges at my head. But for now, I want to get these forfeits done quickly and actually put them in the video. I couldn't do the Brentford one, neither could I do this one, but I wanted to do something, and yeah, it bloody hurt. Anyway, Man United have been incredible since the turn of the year. I did feel like United sacking Ruben Amorim was a bit harsh, but they've replaced him with a manager who's been far better. The best United manager since what? Mourinho from his first 2 years? Michael Carrick, what have you done? Well, not only have you left red marks on my inner thigh, but you've beaten Man City, Liverpool and Arsenal away. While I do think the permanent deal could be just the second coming of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, this half season has been incredible. But wow, 7 places wrong and I'm on 42 points.
9th Bournemouth. I don't know what to do with Bournemouth this season. Milos Kerkez, Ilya Zabani and Dean Hyson will all be massive misses. Still, it'll be a solid season, but not quite as good as last season.
I knew Bournemouth were going to get Europe. It's just no one believed it after their board single-handedly tore their world-class defence to pieces. Milos Kerkez, Ilya Zabani and Dean Hyson all moved on, all sold without Andoni Iraola's opinion. If I was Iraola, I'd have been tempted to leave a dead fox in the owner's fridge, just out of sheer spite. But no, their replacements have been fantastic, and only one of them was a new signing as well. What? Milos Kerkez was replaced by new recruit Adrian Truffert, and then the 2 centre-backs, Hyson and Zabani, replaced by Marcos Senesi, a centre-back who was kept on the bench by the former 2, and after the signing of Bafodi Diakite didn't work out, his centre-back spot alongside Senesi was taken by James Hill, a centre-back formerly of Fleetwood Town, Hearts and Blackburn. Chuck in the outbursts of players like Ryan, Alex Scott and Eli Junior Krupi, there is just one thing Bournemouth can't do this summer, and that is let too many of these wonderful players go, because let's face it, there will be ridiculous price tags slapped on all these players. And Marco Rose, he has to be a good manager. If he turns out to be a flop manager, he could tear the most dangerous Bournemouth team I've ever seen to pieces, and they've got world-class prospects in their team. But for this, 3 places wrong, 45 points.
8th Tottenham, similar to Man United. Tottenham aren't going to be a threat to the top 4 at all, but Thomas Frank will do a good job compared to last season. I'd have done a good job at Spurs compared to last season, but I don't think he'll be the next Pochettino, a manager of a smaller club that gets a jump to Spurs and makes them world class. No, he won't be that.
Tottenham are a disgrace. That's all there is to it. People thought that Spurs would go down before the start of the season, and most of that nonsense was sparked by 10-year-old geeks who thought they were being very, very clever. Any sane person would have predicted a top half finish, right? But no, those 10-year-old brain-rotted nerds were actually right. 17th in the league and 54 points for me for the 2nd season in a row. Though they probably are still crying, because apparently their fans would have rather been relegated than Arsenal in the league. Spurs weren't relegated and Arsenal won the league. I don't care if you think it's Arsenal fans. Tottenham fans are the stupidest fan base in England. Do you see any Villa fans chanting champions of Europe right now? Speaking of which...
7th Aston Villa. Another drop off from last season. I think Aston Villa will fall off the pace and grab Conference League football. Still, it'll be a points total in the 6th season a decent season.
4th. There was a pre-Christmas title challenge from Aston Villa. Their title challenge in the first half of the season. It looked like something out of 15-16 Leicester, but they got torn to bits by Arsenal at the end of December, and after that they began to sink off the face of the earth. And the team that people thought would actually win the league, again this was 10-year-old brain-rotted geeks, they've slipped into 4th. But still, an incredible season for Villa. And they've won their first trophy in 30 years by winning the Europa League. But still, I'm wrong by 3, 57 points.
6th Newcastle. This is going to be a repeat of 23-24 when Newcastle last qualified for the Champions League. And like they did in 2023, they'll fall off due to the Champions League adrenaline. The same thing that happened to Aston Villa last season. Europa League football for them.
If you're looking for an underachievement, this is it. Voltemada, Wisa, Ramsey, Elanga, Chow, etc, etc, etc. And they're 12th in the league. Embarrassing for all concerned. This season has been reminiscent of Mike Ashley's Newcastle. Elanga has just looked like a Swedish Cisco. Voltemada has had all the goal threat of Luke de Jong. And Wissa is looking like a Congolese Hozelu. This has been an awful, awful year. They had 4 goals in the opening 6 games, got absolutely torched to death by Barcelona in the Champions League, and let Sunderland, a team who after the Newcastle takeover in 2021, the Geordies probably imagined they'd never lose to Sunderland again, or play them again in the league for that matter. Because while the Saudis were pouring a sack of money over St James's Park, Sunderland were in League One with Aidan McGeady on the wing. Now Sunderland are back in the Prem, and Newcastle have let them do the double over them. 1-0 at the Stadium Stadium of Light, 2-1 at St James's Park. This was probably the point of the season where the Geordies were researching how to plunge themselves off a cliff. 12th in the league, 63 points.
5th Nottingham Forest. Yep, Forest for the Champions League. They've kept a squad that was fantastic last season. They deserved better than Conference League in my opinion. They deserved hotels in Munich, not apartments in Lithuania. Not games in stadiums that are less crowded than a train station in Cumbria. But it doesn't matter, they were snitches and got Europa League instead. They'll get at least as far as the semi-finals there, and will kick on in the league.
No, just don't look at me. I'm too embarrassed to show. Oh my god. What was this? 5th. Forest. 5th. This is my most embarrassing prediction ever. Forest 5th. 5th. Oh my god, they're 16th! This would have looked awful if Forest had actually gone down. But no, I fell for the hype surrounding Forest last summer. I'm ashamed of myself. 16th. 74 points. Great, so I'm over last year's total. Please, please, please just let me get the top 4 right.
4th Man City. They'll finish within 5 points of Forest, and will finish at least 6 points off the team in 3rd. I know they've done well in the transfer market, and that Rodri's coming back, but still, I don't believe that Pep has another title in him. This could be his last season.
Yep, it was Pep's last season, but second in the league, 7 points off Arsenal at the top, and drawing to Bournemouth to hand the Gunners the league. 76 points.
3rd Chelsea. Chelsea mean business. João Pedro is going to net 15 plus goals, and Enzo Maresca will fix his form and prevent embarrassing losses to terrible teams. Like last season when they lost to Ipswich Town. That's like losing a game of chess to your pet goldfish. But anyway, Maresca will make Chelsea look strong again, but they won't be in a title race. They'll be out of it by April.
No! No, you stupid bastards! 10th. 83 points. How have I gone beyond 80? This is the worst set of predictions on the internet. Surely! Under Enzo Maresca, Chelsea could have probably finished 3rd, but Liam Rosenior, I said it all along, he was a useless manager, and his next gig is surely someone like Hull for a second time. Maybe next season if Sergej Jakirovic fails in the Prem, but no, 83 points! And just like the Championship video, I've gone over my target. I should probably make that a rule actually. If I go over my target, I should do some forfeit. I will have a think about it and implement that rule next season.
2nd Arsenal. Victor Gyökeres will score 20 plus goals, but they will just miss out. Still, over 80 points on the board, and there will be a trophy coming to the Emirates this season. I don't care if it's the League Cup or the FA Cup, there will be a trophy in the Arsenal team photo next year.
Oh, I was gonna do it. I was going to do it. I was going to put Arsenal top, trust me. I saw something being built when they signed Zubimendi, Gyökeres, Eze and co. But I didn't put them top because surely there was only one team that was going to win the league. That team will become apparent in about a minute. But no, Arsenal are the champions. Go watch the long form video where I explained how I was an emotional little child when Arsenal won the league. To think that there were people tipping Arsenal to finish outside the top 4. If anything, Arsenal were going to finish inside the top 3 at least. Mikel Arteta is a consistent manager. 3 second placed finishes in a row, and now finally they've gone the extra mile and won the league for the first time in 22 years. 84 points, but never have I been more happy to get a prediction wrong.
1st Liverpool, super team. Absolute super team.
Everyone did this, come on. Isak, Ekitike, Wirtz, Frimpong, etc, etc, etc. A super team was being built, but it flopped. 5th in the league, and that's 88 points for me. I'm embarrassed. I am absolutely mortified with that. Surely this is going to be my worst ever prediction set. Surely. If I get beyond 88 points next season, trust me, I'll be chucking my laptop into the sea, and I'll begin work at an old people's home instead. Anyway, that's the end of the video. Thank you for watching. Leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. 88 points. 88! What? I'm a donkey. I'm the Darwin Núñez of predictions. So bad. I'll see you in the next video.